I had said that what we were going to focus on today is when you have the 0/0 situation. That's at least the first part of class. And I hope you can see how I know I have 0/0. I'm actually using that direct substitution property I just taught you. And if you get a 0/0, you got problems, right? So you got to do something to try to see where it looks like it's going. Okay. So that's really what my focus for the next thing is. And what we're going to learn is we're going to learn a bunch of algebraic techniques to help us solve limits. So this is all about that, that second standard. And the different techniques we have are factoring and canceling, multiplying top and bottom by conjugate, simplifying, one-sided limits, how to handle piecewise situations. And then you can see right here, this is revisiting the infinite limit situation I was talking about last class. So I told you there's some overlap. So that's what that is. Okay. So this is what I want to talk about for the next few minutes. So let's take a look at example 3 together. When I take a look at example 3, I'm looking at the limit as we get close to the number 3. So 3 squared is 9 minus 3 times 3 is 9. So you get a 0 in the numerator, right? So this is a 0. Then we look at the denominator. 3 squared is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. 18 minus 15 is 3. And 3 minus 3 is 0. So I'm going to get 0/0. So this is exactly the scenario I was mentioning at the beginning of class. All right. So what we're trying to do in this situation is we're trying to evaluate a limit by factoring. Okay. So when you want to factor this guy, we can write it like this. We write the limit as x goes to 3. And when I look at the numerator, I want to pull out the greatest common factor. So in the first term, I have x squared. In the second term, I have 3x. We have a common factor of x, so I can factor that out. And then what remains is going to be x minus 3, right? And so what that means is if I distribute like this, I should get the numerator. Now, there should be no surprise that you get an x minus 3 as a factor. And the reason why is if you get a 0 in the numerator, when you plug in a 3, that means one of the factors has to be x minus 3. So if you're taking a look at this bottom situation, you're trying to think about how to factor it. You already know x minus 3 is going to be one of the factors. It's got to be, because the denominator here is 0. So you just got to figure out what the other factor is going to be. And I know that when I multiply the first two terms together, I should get a 2x squared. Since I have 1x here, that means that this guy has to be a 2x. Does that make sense? And when I look at the last term, this last term here has to be a -3. So when I multiply these last two guys together, I should get a -3 coming out. That means this is forced to be a +1. Okay. So the factoring thing, if it's a factorable polynomial, I hope you can see that it's not too difficult to factor it because you know what one of the factors in the numerator and denominator already are. Once I have this, then I can cancel out the those 0 factors like this, and then I end up with the limit as x goes to 3 of x over 2x plus 1. And I just want to make a comment here. Since we get 0 in the numerator and denominator, x minus 3 must be a factor. of each. Okay. All right, great. So, you know what? I want to throw in one more comment. I'm going to put in here. When we substitute x equal to 3. Okay. So now how do I evaluate this limit? Anyone want to advise me on how I evaluate this limit? Any thoughts? It's not a trick question. I'm hoping it's easy. You just got to say the right words. I'm thinking of a 3-word phrase. First, yes, Cynthia, direct substitution property. Substitution, yes, Ken, that's right. So what happened is we eliminated the 0 in the denominator. So now I can use direct substitution, right? So then when I plug in the 3, what am I going to get? I'm going to get 3/7. And that's going to be my answer. Make sense? Good. All right. Why don't you guys go down to the classwork over here. Why don't you guys try 1? And then let me know when you finish. So try classwork number 1. Done. Box. When you finish, we will play. 3, 2, 1, go. So let me set just gonna set a timer. 3 minutes, 2 minutes? Let's start with 2 minutes. All right, Ashley, good. Hey, Ash, you could try the second one. Try the second one if you finish the first one. All right, Jasper. All right, Mihan. Again, if you finish early, just try the second one. All right, so does anyone need more time? Anyone thinking they're almost almost got it and they need more time? I see nothing. Okay, so we're gonna do a 3, 2, 1, go, which is I want you to type your answer in the chat box. And then I'm gonna count it down. I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1, go. And then when I say go, you just hit enter. So we should see a stream of numbers come across the chat box. Okay. So let's do it. Ready? So type your answer. And I'll count it down. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Okay. Great. So see a lot of correct answers here. Let me do it for you. I just want to remind you that this class is based on the growth mindset idea, and getting questions wrong is the best way to learn something. So I don't want you to feel afraid to type a number in because you're afraid of being wrong. Like, that's fine to be wrong because then we can learn from our mistakes. So like I built the whole course to be this way. So I'm hoping that you kind of learn to embrace failure and you're not really worried about looking foolish in this class, at least. Okay. So I think when you try to plug in 0, you're going to get 0 over 0. So what that means is we need to factor. So we're going to take the limit as x goes to 5. And because I get a 0 in the numerator and a 0 in the denominator, I know that x minus 5 is going to be a factor for each one. So I just need to figure out what the other factor is on the numerator. And I mean, if I want to get the first term x squared, that means I need an x in front here. And if I want the last term to be plus 5, then I need to think, what do I multiply -5 by to get plus 5 multiplied by -1? So I think this is how I factor it. All right. Then I could cancel out the 0 factors from the numerator and the denominator. And now I have something that's not equal to 0 in the denominator. So we're going to just substitute 5 using the direct substitution property. We're going to get 5 minus 1, that's equal to 4. And that's what you guys got. Okay. So for the people that have already tried number 2, and I understand if you haven't tried it yet, why don't we do 3, 2, 1, go for you folks? So type your answer if you've tried it. I don't know how many of you have, and then let's do it. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. All right. All right. Cool. So so we need to be a little bit careful here. The point of number 2. The point of number 2 is not to test you about the factoring technique. It's to make sure that you try the direct substitution property first. So when you try the direct substitution property, that means you're just going to try to plug in the 5 first. So we got 5 squared minus 9 over 2 times 5 squared plus 7 times 5 plus 9. So that should be 25 minus 9 over 25 times 2 is 50 plus 35 plus 3. So when we subtract these guys, we're going to get 16 over 88, which gives you 2 over 11. Okay, so that's going to be our answer for the second one. So the main point of this guy is we use the direct substitution property. Does that make sense for everyone? Did anyone have any questions about these first 2 classwork examples? All right.